New day, new stories. Start your morning right with Rise and Shine on Channel Africa.
Right, off to West Africa we go as we take a look at some stories there in a bit more detail. There's quite a few developments that have been taking place there, raising fresh political, economic and diplomatic questions across the region. Nigeria facing US tariffs, 3 Sahel nations, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, launching an ambitious agricultural alliance. Senegal, the Prime Minister there, Ousmane Sonko, has criticized the growing trend of unilateralism by powerful nations like the US, and also concerns continue to mount in Mali, where the military junta appears to be settling into power despite earlier promises of a democratic transition. Well, let's unpack some of these issues, and we're joined by our political expert, commentator, who's also a conflict resolution expert, Dr. David Matsanga. Always good to have you on the program. Good morning, Dr. Matsanga.
Good morning, my veteran brother P.Ndoro. Thank you very much for keeping Africa working very far away today, trying to be in the headquarters of African Union and see what we can do today.
And when I hear the word veteran nowadays, I hear as a polite way of saying old.
No, I think veteran means we have been in this game with you for a long time.
All right.
And we have done our best for Africa. We have spoken our minds. And the people have not, if those who listen will listen. Those who don't listen can see what we predicted a long time ago. Thank you.
I hear you, Dr. Matsanga. All right, let's begin in Nigeria. Reports suggest that the U.S. plans to impose a 10% tariff on Nigerian exports as a consequence of the country's deepening alignment with the BRICS grouping. Is this the U.S. in fact, I say the U.S., and it's probably more accurate to say Donald Trump, on this obsession that he has with punishing anybody that slightly has an inclination towards any ideas that he doesn't like?
I think, Peter, if we had people in Africa thinking, if we had people in Africa who see far, like the giraffe of Kenya National Park or Kruger National Park, it sees far. That is why Western democracies beat us. We have people, think tanks, who think very far. The 4 years of Trump are going to be the doorsteps to hell. That is very true. And we should have known that this was coming. You saw South Africa itself was being destabilized by Trump. Allegations of genocide, of where there was no genocide. So all African countries should have known that Trump is not a man who is going to be on our side. And I told people a long time ago, the biggest problem, Peter, which we have across Africa, you have faced it, I've faced it. African countries, African governments don't listen to black people like Peter, who are experts, who knows one thing or the other. This thing was coming. We saw it coming. Nigeria knows. There is nothing in Nigeria, Peter. If you add more tariffs on Nigeria, you finished. The Nigeria is gone. The economy is gone. Everything is gone. Insecurity is gone. They are killing their own people. The army has turned on killing people. So we have nothing more or less there. These tariffs are going to hurt every African country. My country, Uganda, I am sure it is on the target because you can see Uganda has joined the BRICS. We are there and we don't care, Mr. Trump. We have our food and which is organic. You have the MG or what are they called? Those things there that make us change our lifestyle. So it is going to happen and we must prepare for this, Peter.
So what should our response be as a continent to these tariffs? Do we fight back with tariffs?
You can't fight America back with tariffs because you are even not united. Today, Trump has called 5 leaders, 5 small countries surrounding that state of Nigeria, which is about to collapse. He picked them, divided them. You know, the doctrine of neocolonialism and the colonialism is here. And you come divide and rule, pick 5 and take to White House, give them about $100 each quietly, or 200,000 quietly. I want you to prepare to overthrow Burkina Faso man. That's what they are doing. You know it, Peter. We have reached a stage. You and I should not speak anything quoting anyone. We should speak our mind, Jermaine. This continent is going down. Look at these 5 presidents. They can say, no, we are not coming if the others are not coming. But you see, they are wearing suits, already running. I think they are already in Washington preparing to go as if they are going to see Jesus. Is Trump Jesus? Is Trump God? He also prays to God like we do. So we should stand up and unite ourselves as Africans and say enough is enough. But we are not united. AU is captured. Everybody is captured. The others are looking for money. They bank money outside their countries. So what God, we are on our own. You read that book, God for Us. I think everybody on his own.
Okay, let's go to President Joseph Boakai, who's issued Liberia's first official apology to victims of its civil wars and honored 2 assassinated former leaders. How significant do you think this gesture is in terms of truth, reconciliation, and perhaps healing?
That is one step forward. And as a conflict resolution expert, I want to laud the president of Liberia. Thank you. Thank you. Some presidents in Africa don't listen. P.Ndoro, a redemption strategy. And I repeat, you can go to near Angel Gabriel and ask him what is redemption strategy. How did Mandela heal the wounds of apartheid? Mandela used a redemption strategy, Peter. He came back and said, no, I've come out of prison. I've been in prison, but I'm not going to witch hunt, no revenge. Let's reconcile. Most African leaders are facing a problem today. They don't want to do a reconciliation, truth-telling, accountability, restitution, reparation, which leads to healing. The families of the 2 presidents, the supporters of the former presidents who were assassinated, killed, maimed, whether it is Idi Amin, whether we have done it. For us, we have done it. We have gone over it. Idi Amin killed us in Uganda. But when we came back, we overthrew him in 1978, took power. Some people did not want to reconcile. But Uganda today has reconciled. We know, we look at the things that Idi Amin did. The gesture that this president of Liberia has done. Most African countries, please, and mark these African countries who claim to know some things, but they don't know. Redemption strategy is the only way out. It has got 6 components. All of them lead to one word called healing. And that is what Desmond Tutu did in South Africa. You see where you are seated. You would not be in that studio, brother. There used to be a white guy in that studio on that microphone, and then they will give you another microphone somewhere else. Redemption strategy works. Healing works. A good gesture from Liberia.
So what might be the political or legal implications to this apology, especially when it comes to justice for the victims and calls for accountability?
You come back and what did we do? I'll give you practical. I teach political science in this way. I say comparative politics. What did we do in Uganda? Kony killed more people than the people who died in Liberia. I was the chief negotiator. I negotiated that agreement. I proposed what we call redemption strategy of amnesty commission. An amnesty commission, truth-telling. Conyers, I returned over 82,000 people abducted by Kony. I returned them. Our commission returned them to Uganda. Some of them have been absorbed in the army. Some of them are very fruitful, useful businessmen, gone to school. It is now almost 20 years ago. So you need to do what we call healing process, where people come back and say, I killed, but I am here, forgive me. Those who had heinous crimes will go to court, if you need a court at all. Gacaca courts in Rwanda, would you think that a Hutu would be walking on the streets of Kigali today? You and I covered Rwanda, you remember? We covered, you saw what was going on there. But they are working together. So this is a healing process where people come out openly, remove what is in their chests, come out and say, I was the leader of South African intelligence system during apartheid. I killed Stephen Biko. Forgive me. Are you not living together? Some African countries don't want even to listen. There you are. Let them go on. Yeah. We are here to see, but our role is to talk. Yes.
Okay. Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, I know is one of the subjects that you like to talk about. They've launched this regional initiative for agricultural seed production, dubbed the Alliance of Agricultural Seed Producers of the Sahel. What do you make of this intent, this initiative? Some might speculate that given the political isolation of these countries, it's more about survival strategy or a long-term attempt of building self-reliance outside of the ECOWAS umbrella.
These countries left the station a long time ago. P.Ndoro, I invite you, I will get you a ticket. We go and meet Mr. Traore. Yes, Ibrahim would like to meet you and me. I'll take you there. I have gone there 6 times. These guys have changed that place. A desert is producing some tomatoes, cabbage, onions, rice. Things are changing up there. And this is a welcome, because some of these younger people who have taken power, they are listening. When you go to his country in the capital city, he respects you. He wants to know. He doesn't speak French, but he wants to sit down and listen to you and say, speak, he understands English. He says, that's a good idea. This young man and the other one in Niger, who is the oldest amongst them, my dear friend, if you go there and then you start that you want to remove them, people will reach you on the streets of their capitals. They don't want, because they had corrupt civilian governments, corrupt, that had sold these countries to the French. So what do? These guys have done very well. Agriculture is moving. They are wiping. They are fighting insurgency. Of course, you know who funds ISIS, Al-Qaeda, in the Maghreb. You know. You and I don't want to say here, but if you want me to say here, I can say, we know. We know who funds this against now the generals. They have been fighting insurgents, but they have turned on agriculture as a means. Burkina Faso, for example, has bought tractors, 800,000 tractors, instead of buying Prados. It has given tractors. It has given ambulances. Which country in Africa here has got 1,000 mobile ambulances with doctors equipped inside and mini theater inside? Which one? Show me. Those countries are doing very well. They sold their uranium, gold, diamond. They have done very well. I bet you should start talking to these countries. Change the charter. Return them to the African Union. They are our brothers. Let's not isolate them.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Mali in particular. 5 years now after the coup, the military has once again postponed elections. What does this mean for the future of democracy in Mali and maybe even the Greater Sahel?
What, Peter? What democracy? Which one? You at least you in South Africa, you can talk of democracy, my brother. Is there democracy in Africa here? Where is it? Which one? Which one? We need to go back and define what democracy is. I think the Western type of democracy in Africa cannot work. It can only work in South Africa. You are the only people on the continent of Africa, brother, who vote, who can come, vote, and go home without a stone thrown at P.Ndoro's car, without a bloodshed on the streets of Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Pretoria or Durban. You vote and go home. The rest of Africa, my dear brother, Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, those are countries where there is some semblance. You call Nigeria, for example, I think if you had been in elections in Nigeria, you would just run to Atlantic Ocean and hide, take cover. There's no election. What democracy? So when you talk about democracy, let's define which democracy. Time has come for us in Africa to find another format. And that format is consensus democracy. The democracy of consensus, of agreeing. Opposition in Africa is funded from abroad, Peter. There is no opposition in Africa. There is ghost opposition funded by George Soros, funded by Ford Foundation that come to claim to be opposition. There's no opposition. My country, Uganda itself, which opposition is there? Museveni is going to win 100%. I'm telling you, I'm not a supporter of President Museveni, but he's going to win because there's no opposition there. Right. He's not there, fragmented into several pieces.
Right.
One is from Germany, one is from Brussels, another one from Britain, another one from America. What opposition is there? Democracy is not worth it. Let's go back to China style. 40 years ago, China was very poor.
Yes, Dr.
Peter,
Matsanga,
you remember?
I wish I could talk for longer with you because our conversations are always fascinating and gripping. But unfortunately, time is not on our side. So thank you so much indeed, always, for your enlightening insights.
Thank you very much for inviting me and you and Asanda. I always promoted this program across the continent of Africa. Let our voices be heard, and I will continue to be there all the time to stand by you. Let me proceed to Addis to make sure that I make some change coming out from Addis Ababa.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. And that brings us to 6:30, which means it's time for your news headlines. Here's Jwalane Tulo. Mwepe.
SABC News.